You're listening to AI Prism from Seoul Economic Daily.
It's Tuesday, June 30. Let's look at what's happening in Korea's property market. I mean, imagine knocking 10% off the price of a luxury apartment, and you still need $4 million just to get in the door.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
It really is. So today, we're taking a deep dive into Korea's sharply bifurcated real estate landscape to answer two critical questions for you.
Right.
First, is prime Seoul property truly defensible against these strict borrowing limits? And second, is the heavily hyped provincial housing recovery actually real?
Well, the numbers right now paint a deeply polarized picture. In just a single year, Seoul apartment prices gained 11.69%.
Right, which is a huge jump.
Exactly. But meanwhile, Korea's 5 major provincial cities actually fell by 0.41%.
Wow.
And the inventory data shows us exactly why this gap is widening, because currently 73% of all unsold housing units nationwide are sitting outside the capital region.
Wait, 73%? That inventory gap is just staggering.
Yeah. Oh, it gets worse. When you look at the type of inventory, a massive 85.3% of post-completion inventory. I mean, finished homes that are literally just sitting empty is stuck in those non-capital markets.
That is insane. It's like Seoul is this gravitational black hole just swallowing all the housing demand.
Yeah, precisely.
Or like a VIP lifeboat, right?
Yeah.
When investors get nervous about the broader market sinking, they don't even care about the price of the ticket. They just want a guaranteed seat. But I have to push back here. Do supply constraints alone truly justify everyone crowding into this lifeboat?
Well, supply is a massive factor, obviously, but it's really driven by the mechanics of who is actually buying. Tight borrowing limits restrict new development financing, which creates this structural scarcity of prime assets.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, so cash-rich buyers who are completely immune to those lending limits, they just park their capital and perceive safety.
Right.
And we see this mechanism perfectly reflected in a recent survey of 1,200 investors.
Okay, and what did the survey say?
Well, 57.4% overwhelmingly favored Han River reconstruction apartments as their top pick.
Just the Han River ones.
Right. Highly specific. And to test that luxury demand, just look at Cheongdam Le'El. Their 84 square meter reserved units are returning to the market via open bidding at 5.4 to 5.6 billion won, which is roughly 3.9 to 4 million US dollars.
And wait, that's after a 10% price reduction from previous appraisals?
Yeah, exactly.
That is wild. But I guess those multi-million-dollar price tags in Seoul are exactly why the government is pivoting so hard to the provinces, right? Like with their Great Leap 3 mega projects.
You nailed it. To counter this extreme wealth concentration, the government is rolling out a 2,000 trillion won, so about 1.4 trillion US dollar investment package.
Wow, 1.4 trillion.
Yeah, it's massive. They're using it to build these huge semiconductor clusters in non-capital regions. And the immediate effect, brokerages in places like Gwangju are suddenly seeing over 30 inquiries a day.
Really? Just from the announcement?
Yep. Those mappy distress sales where buyers take a loss to exit their original subscription rights, they are completely disappearing from areas like the Cheongdam 3 district.
Okay, but here's where I'm deeply skeptical, though. The execution timeline for these mega projects is, what, 10 years?
Yeah, around a decade.
A decade is an absolute eternity in policy. So are buyers just jumping the gun on an empty promise?
You're totally right to be skeptical, but the reason brokers are taking 30 calls a day right now isn't about people actually moving in 10 years from now.
Right.
It's about investors trying to lock in rock-bottom distress sale prices today. They're hoping the mere announcement basically sets a floor for the market.
Okay, that makes sense. So when we zoom out and look at both this provincial hype and the gravity of Seoul, what is the ultimate takeaway for anyone analyzing this market?
Well, as noted with our hook regarding Seoul's 11.69% recovery, that widening gap basically reflects a structural supply scarcity in prime zones that tighter lending limits won't quickly resolve. And for expats and investors analyzing multi-million USD or billion won entry points, prime Seoul retains rock-solid domestic support. Whereas these near-term provincial moves are strictly sentiment-driven rather than backed by actual population inflows. We're not telling you to buy or sell property or KOSPI equities, but your key indicator will be watching if semiconductor giants actually confirm specific provincial sites in Q3 2026.
That is definitely the indicator to watch. Because meanwhile, Seoul is aggressively fast-tracking supply, including 2,600 new units planned at a former Doksan ammunition depot.
Right, big moves.
Yeah, along with 188 confirmed rapid integrated planning sites. But here is the lingering question I want to leave you with today. If the government refuses to ease DSR or LTV mortgage limits, who will actually be able to finance this massive wave of incoming concrete?
You've been listening to AI Prism from Seoul Economic Daily.